Hey, man.
Hey, Jim, welcome. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. How are you doing?
Great. So I just did my intro. Uh, you've got three practices in Jacksonville, Florida, and you reached out to me in, I believe it was January of 2019.
Yep.
And Jim, I just want to ask you, tell me what was your motivation? What was going on in your practice at the time when you engaged with me to help you build a bigger personal injury presence in Jacksonville, Florida?
Yeah, we've always done PI work, and it was just getting more and more competitive. And one of the reasons is I got tired of looking at 99-cent deposits from Blue Cross Blue Shield in our bank account through ASH. And if you've done any work with ASH and Availity, you know they absolutely mislead patients on what their co-payments are. So it got to be, it wasn't worth it for the $46 anymore. And in Florida, we still have good PI laws, thankfully.
Yeah.
And why would I want to do something for $46 when I can do it for 5 times that? The same exact thing. So like I said, we had done some PI. I wanted to do more, and that's why I reached out to you. So and things were a lot different back then, because you and I got to spend a lot of quality time together, because that's when you did a lot of individual coaching, which the best thing about you now is if anybody needs to talk to you, you're always available. So
right, exactly. So back in 2019, you're right, I was doing one-on-one coaching. You and I would do a live Zoom call with you and your liaison, and I would spend an hour with you every week just going over your stats, asking the liaison what her results were, and also just getting feedback from the market. What are some issues that came up? What were questions you were getting, or what were the objections that you and your marketer were getting, and we could help you with that. So yeah, today I do it a different way. I have a different training regimen, but yeah, I'm accessible through webinars and just reaching out to me through Facebook, email, or text messaging.
and one of the cool things about your program is you've laid it out where if you do the work now, we still get the benefits 3 years later.
That's right.
I look, I don't want to brag, but we've got a small office in Palatka, and if anybody is familiar with Florida, Palatka is in the poorest county in the state. And so we had 3 new patients scheduled there for tomorrow, and we got another call saying, hey kid, this one needs to come in towards the end of the day, can you fit her in? And we said yes. So Pam called and talked to her, and she goes, can I bring my 5 kids in with me that were in the accident? And we go, yeah, we'll make room for 5 kids. So
sure, yeah, that's right.
We've got 9 new patients in a small little 1,200 square foot office tomorrow. Amazing. And that is just because of the relationships we've built up over the years.
You said it right there. This industry is based on, or the success in this industry is based on relationships. And it's an ongoing process of creating relationships. In other words, if you're a doctor and you're relying on 3 or 4 attorneys every single month after month, year over year to send you cases, they're going to be stale. You're putting all your eggs in one basket. Attorneys retire. They get pissed off at you. There's a lot of reasons why relationships can dry up. So having a process, and you're familiar with this, Jim, because you said it, personal injury is the long game. The treatment and the stuff that you're doing today is going to pay dividends down the road. So
yeah, I do lunches at least 3 times a week with attorneys, and I can always find something new to talk to them about. And when you do that, in Jacksonville, we've got big, huge law firms, and they're on TV a lot. And my idea is to let them pay for the advertising, and we just do the best job we possibly can when they send us clients. And so I do at least 3. As soon as we're done with this Zoom meeting, I got to fly to the other side of town, because there's a meeting with 60 attorneys tonight that I get to talk to. So look, we made it through COVID, and didn't drop our numbers. at all.
I remember that.
Actually, we grew, and I had a friend tell me when it first hit and it looked like everything was getting shut down. I said, look, let's just survive it and move on. And he goes, why? Thrive right now, because everyone else is shutting their doors. So the opportunity's there, and we took advantage of it, and we never slowed down. So
yeah. So you've been in this program, and I pivoted to more of an not more of, but in addition to hiring a marketing liaison to go out into the market and to tell your message to the people that can send you cases, there's also an online component. So during COVID, law firms weren't open. So having marketing liaisons wasn't really beneficial because no one was in the law firms. So Jim, how did you stay relevant during COVID when law firms were closed? And I saw your post. We have a private group for the private members, and you were posting in there, we got 12 this week, and this is in 2022, 12 new PI patients this week, 9 new PI patients this week. And this is in 2020. So why were you successful, Jim, in 2020?
it was because of the work we did in 2019. 100%. And because back then attorneys didn't even want to take Zoom calls for, just simple meetings and things. It was, they didn't go into the office. They didn't want to do Zoom calls, but the ones that advertised still had patients coming in, our clients coming in, and we still got them. We got a good number of them. So again, it was all about laying the groundwork at the beginning.
That's right. So what you're doing today is going to help you 90 days, 6 months, 9 months from today. So if you were to
3 years even, Mark, that's the best part about it is the work we did in 2019. I'm getting 9 patients scheduled for our office tomorrow.
Yeah. So you're still marketing today. Yes. You're still reaching out to new attorneys, or?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, it just doesn't stop because you've created this habit, Jim, and you see how successful you can become in personal injury if you just execute a plan.
Yeah. And look, this is seeing PI patients is the reason I get out of bed in the morning, especially with the stuff we're doing with traumatic brain injuries right now. It is very impactful when you can when an attorney sends you a client that they've had on the back burner for 3 years and got a $40,000 settlement offer. They see our neurologist, we send out for the right MRIs, and then they settle that case for $540,000 2 months later. And we've had it where there was 0 offers and they saw our neurologist, and we sent out for the right MRIs again, and they turned down 1.2 because he thinks he can get more.
Wow.
So it's powerful when you can help people that way.
Right. Well, you also mentioned that you have a TBI protocol and you also have a neurologist.
Yeah.
So this has been kind of a sticking point with a lot of doctors and chiropractors in the program, is they don't have a point of differentiation. They don't have an X factor. They don't have something, they do have it, but they haven't figured out how to communicate that or convey that to an attorney or doctor that they want to get personal injury patients from. So you understand that you have a point of differentiation. So explain what your point of differentiation is, Jim, and how you share that, like maybe tonight at this group of 60 attorneys you're going to talk to, or when you have a lunch with an attorney.
It sucks that they don't respect, and it's not the attorneys we work with, it's the adjusters and insurance companies and the defense attorneys that don't respect as much of what chiropractors do in the personal injury game. And that's why we went out and found a neurologist, and he comes in 1 day a week, and it works perfect. And every door opens at a law firm when you mention neurologist and traumatic brain injuries. Every single door will open. As a matter of fact, the biggest law firm in the country right now, that is what they ask on all their intakes about brain injury. It is the most important thing to them right now. And the studies out there show that 25% of everyone in a motor vehicle accident has suffered some type of concussion from the accident. Mm-hmm. So we just found, a need for a neurologist, especially here in Jacksonville, that is good with this. So, that opens the door. It's our niche now. It gets us all kinds of other things coming in. And the other thing that I've just done, and when we see these brain injury people, 100% of them have PTSD. 100%. So we hired a mental health counselor because that is on our staff, because attorneys can't find any that will work on letters of protection here. So
right.
So not only have we've got the neurologist, we've got the mental health counselor, but we also just hired an orthopedist. He's retired. He's not going to cut. There's plenty out there. We don't need him to cut, but he's got every certification known to man, independent medical evaluator, Social Security referee, all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's really good when it comes to this. So we're going to use him to see the patients at the beginning, see him once or twice in the middle, see him once at the end. At the end, he will do the narrative report, which is just adding an impairment to his final report. We don't charge for that. Attorneys like that. But we're always trying to add something of value for the attorneys. And I sit down when I talk with the attorneys, I go, look, when you send us the volume you do, we consider ourselves an extension of your practice. So we will do everything possible, even little things like we request all the ER records because we can get them easier than they can. They have to pay for them. We don't. Makes a big difference. We promise them that if they request records or a billing statement, they'll have it within 2 hours.
Wow.
And it's amazing how many complaints I get from case managers going, I requested bills and records 4 months ago and can't get them out of Dr. Neuro's office or something like that.
Yeah.
So, you develop relationships where it's so good now. It's not even a formal thing. They will just take a picture of a name and a phone number and go, new patient for you, and just send it to us. And it took a while to get that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
But once you get it, you got to really screw up to lose it. And we're not planning on doing that. So
yeah, I say this all the time to doctors, just keep your side of the street clean. You can't control what the attorney does. You can't control what other doctors do, but you can control your office and your actions, and just keep your side of the street clean. And Jim, I know I shared this magic question with you, and you ask attorneys, what do you need?
Yeah.
What do you need? Because attorneys, they're not all cut the same. They're not all cut from the same cloth. Some require more than the average attorney. So when you ask them that question, what are some responses that you get? If you can think of it, or tell me how that question has helped you in your relationship with attorneys.
The one thing, a couple of things they ask for is get an MRI timely. In Florida, we have $10,000 of PIP benefits. Don't use up all 10,000 and then start sending out for MRIs.
Right.
So get the MRI on a timely basis. If they need to be referred out to pain management or surgical case, talk to them and let's get it done early in the case rather than 6 months and no benefits are left. And then just keep the line of communication open with them. It's awesome. Everyone that we work with has my cell number. It's on my business card because I want them to call me. And I see some, and there's another group, and we won't talk bad about it or anything, but they're afraid to put cell numbers on their cards. They don't want to. They want all these referrals from attorneys, but they're not really ready to do the work for it. And the thing of it is once you get the ball rolling, it's not work. It's fun. It's fun to go fishing with a bunch of attorneys.
Yeah, these are just your buddies.
Fun to go to football games. Yeah, we're all friends now, and they're not nearly as bad as they are portrayed in some of the other groups on Facebook. So,
if you get in your head, you're dead. Like if you get in your head, like sometimes people have this pattern of just defaulting to the worst case scenario. Or maybe they have imposter syndrome. This attorney isn't going to like me. He's got too much money. I'm not this. I'm not that. They're just people, man. They're trying to grow their business too.
I get a little frustrated and on some of them when they want to complain that attorneys are asking them for big reductions. And I've reached out to a couple of them and they go, yeah, my bill was 8,000 and the attorney wants me to take 2,000. And I'm like, well, what did the MRI show? Well, we didn't do one. Or, what did the orthopedist or neurologist or physiatrist say when you sent them out? Well, we didn't do that. You got learn the business. Mark will get your butt in the door every single time. But unless you know the business, attorneys will pick up on that quickly. And you won't have many chances to screw up. You got to learn the game. And like I said, if you don't know the game, an attorney will know on case one that you don't know what you're doing.
That's true. Yeah. So that old saying, you only get one chance to make a first impression. So when you have that meeting, look, it doesn't have to be stressful. 80% of it is just getting them to know you and you getting to know them. Are you a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, or, are you more of a Bucks fan because you live in Florida? And by the way,
we like the Gator fans more than anything. So.
Yeah, man. Now you're speaking my language. Jim, you set that up for me, didn't you? I love that. Hey, by the way, if you can block, please call Jim, because Jim is recruiting offensive linemen for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So if you can block, give Jim a call. So that first impression is important. So you should have your point of differentiation locked down and rehearse so that it rolls off your tongue and you know exactly what makes you stand out amongst all the other doctors and chiropractors reaching out to these attorneys, saying the exact same stuff over and over again. Know your point of differentiation. You don't have to hire a neurologist and hire an orthopedic surgeon. I mean, Jim didn't have that back in 2019. That wasn't his point of differentiation. This evolved over time, yes?
Yeah. Look, you can find these people pretty reasonable right now. And what I suggest, if you don't want to spend a couple $100 an hour on the neurologist or anything, what I've suggested to other people is find an emergency room doctor. You can probably get them for under $100 an hour just to come in 4 hours a week. But guess what? You pay them $100 an hour for 4 hours a week, you might start getting unattached referrals out of the emergency room. And if you know what you're doing, you're going to turn that one referral into 4 from a law firm. So
yeah, and who's better suited to know about traumatic injuries or deal with traumatic injuries than an emergency room physician? And when they put their stamp of approval in your notes, the adjusters have to address that.
Yeah.
Back in Alabama, where I used to practice, a lot of these attorneys wanted the blessing of the medical doctor on their notes in PI. But listen, you only need 2 letters after your name to be very successful in personal injury. DC.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you're an MD, I mean, it's game over if you're in this business. Yeah. But a lot of MDs, they want to wait to get paid. But I know of a lot of MDs, they also don't want to get paid 30 cents on the dollar from commercial insurance and their cash patients as well.
But they still chase that Medicare like crazy.
Well, in personal injury, it's quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Because your average case value is typically higher on a personal injury case. And you brought up a good point about MRIs. I was at a lawyer convention, a marketing convention, and these lawyers were all in agreement. If the patient doesn't want an MRI or they think they don't need an MRI between 2 to 6 weeks after the event, after the accident, the attorney said, "You're not injured enough for me," meaning they don't want you as a client if you don't want an MRI. That's coming from attorneys.
Yeah, and I've had attorneys tell me, look, as far as building a case, we would rather it be positive. It's not the best thing for our client, but if it comes back negative, at least I can go to the adjuster and go, well, you know what? The doctor thought it was serious enough that he requested an MRI. So they know how to play it.
That's right.
And look, it still has to be clinically necessary. You can't just do an MRI because they don't hurt, for no reason. But the other thing we do, and I think attorneys kind of appreciate it, is when a patient, 4 weeks after the accident goes, you know what, I feel great. I feel better now than I did before the accident. We tell them, it's like, you know what, we're not gonna, last thing you want is a deposition where your patient is riding horses and then claiming that they're still hurting. And so, you got to be honest and open with the attorneys that you deal with. So,
Oh, yeah, there's enough there's enough shitheads in this industry that are dishonest. We want to do things the right way. We want to be transparent, and we just want to add value not only to the case, add value to the attorney, and just be a resource and a team player with these relationships that you grow, Jim.
yeah, and look, the other thing is if you claim someone's hurt and they're not, and the insurance company knows, you're flagged, man.
That's right. That's right.
And eventually the word will get out, hey, let's not give any of Diesen's patients settlements.
Mhm.
$500, take it or leave it.
Yeah. So, Jim, I was asking you, when you first started, you were around 20 PI patients a month. When you started with me in 2019, you said your best month ever was around 45 new PI patients. But I know in 2020, in April and May, when law firms were closed, you were still getting 15, 20, 25 a month in 2020.
At least. Yeah, we never did less than 20 a month, even with COVID.
Yeah.
But like I said, tomorrow we've got 9. Yesterday we had 5 in that. So the work I did years ago, that was occasionally frustrating. When you think you have a great message and you can't get the attorneys to buy into it.
Yeah.
I've sat with older attorneys especially and talked for 20 minutes about brain injuries. And then they go, well, can you still get disc bulges? And I'm like, okay, let's talk again. And so, at times it was frustrating, but now it is paying off even more than I thought it could. So
yeah, got it. By the way, Rob, thanks for your comment in there. And if you want to get on a call with me, a 15-minute call, type 15 in the comments below. Or if you want Jim's email address, I'm happy to send you Jim's email address. Just type Jim in the comments below and you can email Jim and ask him questions about his experience in the program. And then again, type 15 if you want me to reach out to you privately for a 15-minute call. I'm happy to do that. So Jim, another question that I wanted to ask you is, you were treating patients back in 2019, but now you've transitioned where you're now working on your business exclusively now and not treating as many patients as you were in 2019. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of it is, our practice is set up where I've got a partner that sees all the patients, and that's what he wants to do. I want to be out on the street. I am now our physician liaison.
Okay.
And I'm our main physician liaison.
Yeah.
It's just no doors are closed to a doctor.
Right.
And, sometimes a physician liaison, especially a doctor who's the first thing out of his mouth, who's just obsessed with traumatic brain injury stuff. That will open up every attorney's doors.
But that's your X factor, Jim. That's your point of differentiation.
Yeah. And look, we've had 2 different liaisons and they both worked out great. One of them went on to, she got her insurance license and all that and wanted to sell insurance. And then another one wanted to move to South Florida to finish up school. So I foresee soon that I'm going to have to hire another one.
Okay.
Just because we're getting to that point. So.
Okay. So whether you're the liaison or it was somebody else, that person in your organization was vital for the growth of PI because it always kept somebody in the market, keeping your name fresh.
Absolutely.
So, because if you don't have that, they'll just forget about you.
Yeah, it's out of sight, out of mind. Actually, it was that way for the first year or so.
Yeah.
Now, the spigot has been turned on at a major law firm and they're not shutting it down. So. And
that's because of a relationship you made there?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I will take, in this law firm, the attorneys are good. They catch hell sometimes, but they have some really good attorneys. The case managers run the show. They ultimately run the show. So, once or twice a year, I would take case managers their families or whoever wanted to go, and we'd get condos down at the beach, and we'd go and have fun down there for a weekend. And usually by Tuesday, it paid for itself. So,
Yeah. So when you say that the case managers run the show, are the case managers determining where to send certain clients to get treatment?
it's changing. I mean, I don't know how specific you want me to get about certain law firms.
No. I don't want you to get specific, but the fact of the matter is you have to ask, and because not every law firm is set up correctly. I mean, not correctly, set up the same.
Here's the thing with the case manager system in the bigger law firms is you rarely deal with attorneys unless you screw up, or unless you piss off a case manager bad enough.
Right.
And that's what we don't do. We know the case managers do all the work, basically. And in a lot of firms that have now changed it where they have call centers, and the call centers are sending out the referrals, our case managers that we deal with will intercept that and tell the patient, their client, to come to us.
Gotcha. So Jim, in a typical day, do you have a day where you don't have any outreach to an attorney? Does that ever happen on a Monday through Friday?
No, there might be, like, today I get 50 or 60 of them. It's at different levels, but I will always find an excuse to reach out to an attorney. So,
and are you using social media to do this as well?
Not as much.
Well, I know that you started in 2019, and that social media part of my program wasn't a vital part of it. But then when 2020 hit and the country got shut down, using Facebook and LinkedIn to reach out through direct messaging.
I'll use Facebook some. LinkedIn, I don't, but I will use Facebook, especially when I see that they've posted something.
Yeah.
He just had a trial, won 750,000 or something.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely reach out to him then. So,
because they're going to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, even on your birthday, we always look and say, hey, who wished me a happy birthday? Who liked my birthday? Well, it's the same thing when they put a post like that. Like it, comment on it, because it's just a way to get your name in front of their face again.
Yeah, and I email a lot. I text a lot to attorneys, and just checking in and stuff. And when you've been with them for 3 or 4 years or longer, so in some cases, that's what you do. So, and no one is ever put off by getting a text. So,
and everyone reads their text. They may not read an email, but they're going to see their text.
Absolutely.
So, Jim, in your 3 practices in the Jacksonville metropolitan market, how many relationships with attorneys would you say that you have that are feeding your practices today? Just, you don't have to give me a specific number, but to get to your level of success where you're getting 9 PI patients in a day and getting 40 to 45 a month, how many relationships does it take to do that on a consistent basis?
I would say over 50.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of our patients come from 3 or 4 different law firms.
It's the Pareto principle, man.
But they also, have 100 attorneys at these law. So it's not just one relationship with one person there. You got to have relationships with everybody there.
That's right.
And look, I know for a fact that these 2 law firms sign up over 2,000 clients a month. So
they got to have somebody in your backyard.
Yeah.
Remote.
That's a lot.
So what you'll find is that 80% of your PI business comes from 20% of the attorneys that you have made a relationship with. It's the Pareto principle. So have a big number, create a big relationship. In my program, we break it down like an A, B, and C list. The A list are the guys that are sending you big numbers, right? You can count on them every month. The B list, yeah, they're pretty good, but they're not A. And then you have a C list. Maybe they send you less than 5 a year. So the goal is to bump the C's up to B's, the B's up to A's, and just keep the A's happy.
Yeah.
And when you have 50 relationships, Jim, you're going to have a big PI practice. But it didn't happen overnight. This is not a get rich quick scheme, personal injury. It's a delayed gratification business.
It is delayed, but
even in Florida.
As one of the attorneys who, if anybody's from Florida would recognize the name, told me one time, we are a big bureaucratic ship, and it takes us a while to turn. But once we turn, it takes us every bit as long to turn away from you. So
you just got to get in there and get that relationship.
Yeah, just do the work, and eventually it'll kick in, and all hell breaks loose like 9 in an afternoon. So.
Right. And I know I hammer these 2 points. Massive numbers. You got to talk to a lot of attorneys and just be consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially at the beginning. Treat it like a boot camp. You know, in my program, I tell you a certain amount, do it this way, say this, handle these objections this way, and just be consistent. And in a year, 2 years, you can have 50 relationships with these people sending you 1 or 2 a month. And that's how you win this game. It's based on relationships. Here's the last question, Jim. How much money are you spending in digital marketing for personal injury?
$400 a month.
$400 a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, it is almost as important for those attorneys that we deal with to see us out there as it is for us to bring in our own patients. So,
but the $400 a month, I mean, for the attorneys, it's almost just branding for you. They just have to see your name and your logo.
Yeah. Well, they want to see that we're out trying to get our own. So,
right. So, do you send these guys unattached cases as well? When you get them, do you get unattached cases?
Oh, sure, we get them. And what we particularly do when we really let them know several times if it's a family member that we're sending them.
Got it. Yeah.
And, recently we had somebody close to us that slipped and fell on something at a auto sales place and had to have shoulder surgery. They were thrilled to get that case. So
yeah, got it. Well, Jim, if you want Jim's email and you have questions for him, type Jim in the comments below, and I'll send you his email address privately, so he's not inundated with emails from my clients. But he's happy to talk with you and tell you about his experience and how he went from February of 2019 to hiring multiple liaisons, growing his practice, and doing the work, and how he's benefiting today from the work that he did in 2021, 2020, and 2019. So, Jim, I want to sincerely thank you for doing this client spotlight with me. I really do appreciate it. Anything else you want to add to the group before I?
No, just look, do the work, and the results will eventually follow. And don't get frustrated, because it will definitely happen. So.
Wait a minute. Entrepreneurs get frustrated? I mean, growth is not linear. Is that what you're saying?
Well, and that's the other thing. I like the entrepreneurs that say, I want to quit my 9-to-5 job so I can spend more and start my own business so I have more free time.
That's hilarious.
That's not going to happen. So
yeah, quit your 40-hour week. Now you're going to be working a 60-hour week because there's no clocking in and clocking out. You're always clocked in.
And no guarantees you're getting paid this week. So
that's right. That's exactly right. Well, Jim, again, thank you so much.
Thanks, Mark.
For helping me out on this. Yeah, listen, man, you've been one of the most active clients in my group. And so I want to thank you for doing that. You stimulate conversation. You answer doctors' questions in my private group with my private members. So again, I really do appreciate that, Jim.
Sounds good. Take care, Mark. I got to run. I got to go talk to 60.
Yeah, go get some more patients, man.
All right, man. Take care.
See ya.